So welcome everybody to our Elul learning as we lead up to Rosh Hashanah. Tonight we're talking about the Akedah in graphic art, but of course our teacher is our teacher, Rabbi Donald Rossoff. It's an honor to be here virtually with him and to learn with him. And so Rabbi Rossoff, take it away.
Thank you, Rabbi Satz. It's an honor to be here with all of you as well. So I am not an art expert. I took one college class in art, but that's basically it, other than I'm a consumer. And this topic, how the Binding of Isaac has been portrayed in art, has intrigued me for quite some time. And I've read a number of articles, some of which I will be quoting from tonight. There was one article specifically was by Joel Dunham and Joe Milgram, the Binding of Isaac in art, as well as something known or called an article, "The Fathers Slaughter Their Sons: Depictions of the Binding of Isaac in the Art of Medieval Ashkenaz." We know the story. We don't have to go over it. But let's start first of all with the understanding that graphic art has not been one of our greatest artistic expressions for most of the centuries. As you see, the second commandment says, don't make an image of anything that is in heaven above, the earth below, or is in the water. In other words, if it's real, don't make a picture or a sculpture, because that can turn into idolatry. So I'm going to give you a blank slate, blank screen, blank canvas. And I want you to think for a moment about if you were doing a drawing or a sculpture of this particular chapter 22 in Genesis. How would you depict the scene? Think about what you would do with Abraham, how you would depict Isaac. Of course, there are other characters. There's the ram, there's the angel, there's the servants, there's a donkey, there's the mountain, there's the altar, the fire. So think about that for a moment. If anybody wants to share, how you would depict one of these characters, you certainly can share.
As a parent, I would think that Abraham would be in anguish.
Isaac would certainly be very bewildered, more bewildered than terrified. And the ram would be, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. What would you do with the angel?
I always thought of the angel as a feminine character, trying to stop this nutcase of a husband from killing their child.
Well, we're not going to see the angel do that, but we're going to definitely see some pictures of Sarah and what her husband is doing. So, the fact of the matter is, in the story, the angel doesn't appear. The angel, or at least not depicted, it was revealed, and what you have is speaking. But that's hard to portray in a graphic form. So we're going to see a lot of pictures of the angel. Okay, how about one more opinion?
When I view this picture in my mind, all I see is Abraham, Isaac, and the ram. I really don't look past that. So you're bringing a new symbol into me because I'm too focused on what is going on, it's not fratricide. I don't know what's it called when you kill your child in Latin. I don't know. But in any event, I'm just too focused on that.
Okay. Rightly so. You'll see that the focus is mainly there, but there's also some interesting things that happen with some of the other characters. So we're going to take a visit first to what we understand as the first synagogue, or let's put it this way, the first synagogue that had any kind of artistic expression. It was found in 1932. And you see a little red dot there. The country is Syria, and it's called Europus, and it was the Duro Europus synagogue in the Europus area of Syria. There's an inscription that dates it to 244 in the Common Era, and here's what it looks like. It was the inside of the synagogue. What you'll see is various scenes. I know they're kind of fuzzy. We're going to zoom in, but what you see is a lot of different scenes from the Bible. And above the Torah ark, or the ark niche, is this depiction. So you have, and we'll get a little better close up, you have three things going on. On the right, you have the Akedah. And in the middle is the temple, which, if you think about it, was destroyed only like 170 years before that. The temple restored, and the menorah that's from the original Jerusalem temple. And we'll see a few examples of that combination because one of the aspects of the Jewish imagination early on was seeing the binding of Isaac as a redemptive scene, as representing salvation, because God comes in and saves the situation. So this is what it looks like. So what do you notice?
The faces are all turned away from us.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What's Isaac doing up there?
Looks like he's kind of impaled.
What's that, him right there?
You see the
What's that?
triangle?
Yeah, is that Isaac or the ram?
That's Isaac. The ram is at the bottom.
Ram's
I like
below.
the ram.
I got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't really look so much like a ram, but we're talking about 3rd century.
The ram in the bush.
In the bush.
The red looks like blood, maybe.
Well, yeah, hasn't been spilled yet, but certainly reminiscent of that.
You have either the hand of God or a hand of angel up there.
That's what I was gonna ask. What is that? Is that like, at first I thought it was a bird, but then.
It's a hand.
It's a hand. Almost looks like a clown costume, but it's a hand. In only one example that we're going to see is God actually physically portrayed. Actually, no, that's not true, but in a big way, there is one. And so that would be the hand of the angel reaching out. What is it doing? Well, so far it hasn't done anything. And then the other question is, who is that person in the upper right?
Yeah.
Who could it be? Isaac?
Is that an arm that's been cut off of Abraham that's on top of that triangle,
No, that's Isaac.
top of the pillar?
No, that's Isaac.
Oh, I see. That's Isaac.
But
It looks like we don't see his
It-
left arm.
it
Yeah, but
looks, it looks
if-
like a foot is
Yeah.
stopping the hand.
um,
One of the conjectures, by the way, about the person in the upper right is that's Sarah.
That's Abraham with a knife.
Okay.
That they're saying might be Sarah in the house, in the hut.
in some kind of, yeah, house. Right.
And perhaps, with their backs to us, both Isaac and Abraham are facing Sarah. We're going to move on. We're going to now go to a place in the land of Israel, which is an ancient synagogue from the Greco-Roman period.
Synagogue. Wait, go ahead. Pardon me, Rabbi. Does that synagogue still exist?
Yes, you've probably seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is in Israel, this is called the Beit Alpha Synagogue, halfway between Haifa and the Sea of Galilee. And you can see you're looking at the floor of the synagogue. What you have towards the bottom is the scene we're going to look at, the Akedah. At the top, again, is the reconstructed temple with the menorahs. And in the middle, you have something very interesting, which is kind of an aside, but you might have seen this before. This is the center of the floor, and it is a Jewish zodiac. You have all the signs of the zodiac with their names in Hebrew. The four corners represent the four seasons of the year. And in the middle is actually the Greek god Helios, the sun god, with a chariot and four horses. Now, what are these pagan symbols doing on a Jewish floor? Well, some might say that it was what's called heterodoxy, which was a kind of Judaism that also believed in aspects of the Greek culture, or what is more widely conjectured, it talks about the culture in which they live. They take the symbols of the culture and they bring it in and make them Jewish. And we often do that ourselves. It's been one of those Jewish things that there's a porous wall between ourselves and the outside world. So the bottom you see the picture. Now here is a better view of that. And if you're not sure who those are and you read Hebrew, each one of them is labeled. On the right, Yitzchak. To his left is Abraham. Then you've got the angel's hand. You got the bush. You got the ram. And as you remember, there were two servants that came along. And before they went up to the mountain, Abraham said, "You guys stay here with the donkey." Again, it almost looks cartoonish, but it speaks again to the centrality of that particular story in the salvation narrative at the time. Any thoughts about this one?
Yes.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
when I asked the question whether the temple still existed, I wasn't referring to this one. I was referring to the one in Syria. Does that still exist?
Oh, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
I
And that's
think-
one you probably didn't visit.
It does. I don't think
Okay.
it exists where in its spot. I think the art exists in a
Oh,
museum
that's
in
right. It
Syria.
was taken into
Yeah.
a museum. You're right, Rabbi.
So in this one, I think it looks like burning something with smoke. Maybe that's not right, but.
Well,
In this
the
one,
smoke-
the characters have faces.
yeah,
Yeah,
very flat, very two-dimensional. And at this point in this picture, the angel is still pretty far away, especially as compared to what we're going to see in other pictures. So now we're going to move ahead a few centuries into some Christian art. So this is a I think it's Pyxis, Pyxis. If anybody knows how to pronounce that correctly, then let me know. It's a jar. It's a jar about 5.5 inches tall, and the diameter is about 7.75. So, and what do we see here? We see Jesus with his gang, and of course he's on the throne, and everybody is gathered around him. So that's this side of the Pyxis. Here's the other side. Again, the binding of Isaac. Now,
yeah.
by the way, we call it the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. In most Christian contexts, it's known as the sacrifice of Isaac. And of course, I think you can probably understand how the binding of Isaac and the sacrifice, Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son, is a prefigurement, as Christians understand it, of God actually sacrificing his son. Both are a example of great faith. And this sort of thing would be used to hold makeup or other kind of things. Now we're going to jump ahead. This is from the year 547. It's from the Basilica of San Vitale in Ravenna, Italy. And you have scenes from Abraham's life. Underneath the ark we're talking about. So what do you see? What scene do you see on the left from Abraham's life?
It
I
looks,
Oh, go ahead, Linda.
it looks like he's offering a sacrifice.
Not exactly.
No.
I think
That's the
hi, it's Karen Anilek. I
Hi,
think
Karen.
it's when he greets the angels to his tent to offer them food and being a host to them.
That is what it is depicting, yes. And Sarah is in the tent. Looks like a little hut, but she was in a tent. And Abraham's offering a meal to these three angels. And you notice, the Christian depiction of angels, they have halos. In our tradition, angels don't have halos. So that's left, middle. And then the right, you've got the scene of the Akedah. And we'll zoom in on that a bit. So what strikes you here? Look at the faces.
They're facing us this time.
They're facing
He-
us. Well,
he-
we're facing.
Ab-
Go ahead.
Abraham can't, again, I don't think Abraham can be happy about killing his son, so he's looking away.
Right. He's also, it's hard to tell in this, but he's also looking up at
Thank
the
God. Oh, there's the hand.
See the hand coming down? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where Abraham is looking. Where's Isaac looking?
Isaac's looking at you.
Looks
Us.
like it. Us. What's he saying?
Yeah, just what Larry said. What am I doing?
And that
what
is,
Paul said. What am I doing here?
yeah, what am I doing here? What we're going to see again in Christian
Close.
contexts is he isn't asking that question. He knows. In the Midrash, the Jewish source, there's a story that says Isaac says to Abraham, bind me really tightly. I don't want to struggle because I want to make sure that the sacrifice is according to what Torah says it should be, even though Torah was much later, a pure sacrifice. So in that particular Midrash, Isaac is either he's going willingly or he's trying to kind of get at his father. Hard to say. And another Midrash, he says, well, make sure you tell mom that I was a good sacrifice.
How old is Isaac supposed to be in this?
Okay, so Torah doesn't say. He's referred to as a lad. But you could guess. Now, there is a tradition that he's 37 years old.
I always thought it was like a little kid.
Yeah, well, the tradition is, and it's based on rabbinic logic. The rabbis had a number of exegetical tools, rules by which they understood the scripture. And one of them was simuch parshiot, which means if this section and this section are next to each other, then they're connected and one happened right after the other. Okay, so what's the next story after Genesis 22? What's in Genesis 23?
It's Chaye
Chaye
Sarah.
Sarah. Right. And what happens then?
It starts with Sarah's death.
Starts with Sarah's death. Okay. And we're going to see, and this is both rabbinic and Christian, that sometimes it's depicted that Sarah dies as a result of hearing about what Abraham was going to do or almost did with their son. Okay, so how old was Abraham when Isaac was born? I'm sorry, how old was Sarah? She was 90, according to the Torah. How old was she when she died? 127. Okay, 10 and 27 gets you to 37. So again, I don't know that that's the intent of the author or authors, but that's how the rabbinic mind has looked at it. Moving on, right along. Got a lot of pictures to show you. This is, now we've jumped to the year 1280. And I'm not sure where this came from. It didn't say, but it's in a Hebrew manuscript. You can see it's in the British Museum. And at the bottom it says, this is the binding of Isaac and the lamb caught in the thicket. So what do you see here that might be different?
The angel now is more than a hand.
Yeah.
It's humanized. It's a face and a body and
Mm-hmm. And what is it doing with its arms?
Stopping the knife.
So stopping Abraham from killing Isaac with his right hand. With the other hand, he's what? Pointing downward towards the ram. And of course, what's interesting here is Isaac is not bound. It's a very high altar. Not only is he not bound, but he isn't on the wood where the fire is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that this was a Christian depiction of that. And sometimes one of the things I read was sometimes these colors, the blues and the reds, are colors more used by Christian illustrators. And what we're going to see is there are manuscripts, Hebrew manuscripts, Hebrew books for Jewish people, but it's conjectured in many cases that the artists who did the illustrations were not Jewish.
Are you saying that because these are figurative characters with faces and arms and?
I think that's part of it. It also could be that graphic arts was not something that was encouraged, among the Jewish population. And it was very much encouraged in the Christian community. So
It almost looks like Abraham has two faces.
okay, I can kind of see that. So describe those two faces.
Well, one is looking at the angel,
Uh-huh.
and the other one is partially hidden, but is looking out or closer towards Isaac, almost like a spiritual element rather than a regular face.
Right. So what you're seeing, what I'm seeing, is a face that otherwise would look like his hair.
Right.
Right. Hadn't seen that before, but that's really intriguing. Very intriguing. But almost
Perhaps representing ambivalence on some level as a father, but also as a devoted and pious believer.
There's the tension actually is demonstrated in the text itself, because God calls out to Abraham, and what does Abraham respond?
Hineni.
Hineni, here I am for you. And then later Isaac asks his father, going to ask a question, and the same response. Hineni, I'm here for you, God. I'm here for you, my child. And there is certainly a built-in tension there. We're going to skip ahead a few years, like 16. This is, so we see the sacrifice or the binding of Isaac. Again, he's not bound. Same colors. We see the angel actually grabbing onto the knife, or this looks like a sword, like a medieval sword. And what's Isaac doing? I'm just gonna go ahead. What's he doing?
He's praying.
Looks like he's praying. That's how Christians pray, by the way. Not how Jews pray, but yeah, he's praying. And I imagine well, you can all imagine what he's praying for. But what's really interesting here is the text that it's illustrating. It's illustrating a page out of the Mishnah Torah by Maimonides. The Mishnah Torah, as you probably know, it was the first organized compilation of Jewish law. And this section deals with the laws of purity. And what is pure, what impure. It also says on the right, Hilchot Harad Adumah, the laws of the sacrifice of the red heifer. And so it's another theme that is portrayed here, which is this is an act of pure sacrifice. So it's just an interesting place to put it. Now here is a pretty much contemporaneous illustrated Torah picture where you see the binding of Isaac. Isaac is like kneeling down, looks like. But what's the text? This is the first, the word that you see, in the big letters is Vayikra, which is first word in the book of Leviticus. Leviticus has to do with purity, pure and impure, and the sacrifices. So again, it's being portrayed as the paradigm of the perfect sacrifice, even though it wasn't completed. Here's an illustration of a page from the Midrash. I'm not sorry, not Midrash. It's a Machzor. It's a high holy day prayer book that incorporates some of the Midrashim. And some very interesting things happening here.
The ram.
Yeah. I mean, their eyes are weird.
Yes. The angel is like a phoenix bird.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Also, Abraham's wearing the medieval Jewish hat.
I'm loving the kippah.
Yeah.
No, it's a hat that Christian authorities made Jews wear.
Yeah. And we're going to see that more. Yep. And Abraham is actually grabbing Isaac's hair, which isn't in the text and we haven't seen so far, but we're going to see more of that. And
It's interesting that in many of these pictures, Abraham is wearing red.
Mm-hmm. So, heard a lecture from the late Rabbi Michael Cook, whose thing was Christianity and New Testament, and he made the point that in medieval Jewish art, Christians would portray Jews in red, which is a color of shame. Another example of that, I think, can't convince anybody else of it. Who's that coming dressed in red must be the children that Moses led. That's the Jewish people. Who is that dressed in white? The children of the Israelites, which is not the Jewish people, but in the eyes of the church fathers, the Christian community was the new Israel. So I think that's a put down, us dressed in red, but Nobody else wanted to believe me. And Isaac seems almost serene here.
Mhm.
Um,
Rabbi,
go
can
ahead.
you go back to that picture? Because
Sure.
I think the phoenix, because the myth of the phoenix is that it's resurrected.
Mhm.
There are Jewish stories that Isaac was killed, and it looks like he's dead there, and is resurrected. And so I'm wondering if that's what it's depicting.
One could see it that way, and I think that's a very solid way to look at it.
Mhm.
Rising from the ashes. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next one is a little weird, and I didn't put a note where this came from. But you see the hat again. You see Isaac bound. It looks like Isaac and Abraham have more extended noses than the angel.
Mhm.
Rabbi. It almost looks like Abraham is depicted as a Shylock from, Shakespearean time.
I'm not disagreeing. Yeah, that certainly comes to mind. What makes it look like that?
I think the clothing, and as you said, they've got these long noses. Just really struck me as looking like that.
Mhm.
Or a
Yeah.
peddler.
Or a peddler, you say?
Yeah. Yes.
He's wearing tzitzi. He's got a tallis on with his
Mhm.
pointed beard.
Yep. You see the fringes. Yeah, I didn't notice a couple of those things. Thank you. Next one is from an illustrated Pentateuch, Chumash, depicting, as it says, the binding of Isaac. And what's that on the left? I mean, on the right?
That's a creature bringing Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's a midrash, really great midrash, extended midrash, that Satan, Hasatan, which simply means the adversary, God's devil's advocate, so to speak, tries to sabotage this whole thing. What we have here comes to Abraham and tries to convince him not to do it, saying it's just a test, don't go through with it because it's not going to be accepted anyway. Says to Isaac, do you know what your father is about to do with you? And here, Satan, the devil, is telling Sarah what's going on. And that is, according to the Midrash, that is the moment when her soul departs from her. That's why it's called the death of Sarah. And again, you can see the hat. Interesting position Isaac's in. Almost like a beast.
And the angel looking like a vulture almost.
Yeah, another bird.
Mm-hmm.
So here comes the next one. This is also from a Machzor, dated around 1340. And see a few things. And again, I have a sense that this was done by a Christian artist.
it's different stages. He's bringing Isaac up to be sacrificed, and then he has him lying on the altar, and he's raising the knife to kill him.
Right.
And he's being stopped, but it's like a time lapse.
Yeah. A few of these pictures actually depict different times in their lives, and this is specifically, like you said, the journey to Mount Moriah.
Mhm.
And take a look at that. What do you see in that? On the left-hand corner.
Isaac is not entirely happy
How do you know?
as he's looking suspiciously at his father, and his wrist is not engaged in the hand. He's not holding his father's hand fully.
Right. Looks like Abraham's dragging him.
Right.
But then when he's on the altar, he just lies there.
Right.
It also looks like Abraham's covering his eyes.
Yes. I don't want you to see what's coming. What does a ram look like?
He looks almost happy.
Yeah, that was my impression. Here I am, take me.
Mm-hmm. Now,
By the way,
what about the two in the foreground, the two figures with the wood and the satchels?
so those are the two servants with the donkey.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the wood is on the donkey. I don't see wood on the altar.
Right.
There is one midrash that says that Abraham lit the fire, went to slay Isaac, was stopped by the angel, but it was too late because he already had burned to death.
Oh my.
Now we're going to move forward a little bit. This is from another Machzor for Rosh Hashanah. And it's interesting. You've got this scene separated. And what do you notice here?
Isaac is praying
Looks
as
like
he's, as he's bound.
Back to being sort of just a hand in a cloud, but pointing to the ram.
Right. So there's no physical depiction of the angel other than the hands. And as we saw, you know, the phoenix had hands, human hands.
What's the word in red that's repeated over and over?
Melucha, which is kingship. This is actually a medieval liturgical poem, a piyut, which I don't think I'm familiar with. Shiro. Looks like it has some biblical text worked into it. And what's interesting in the same volume, got kind of the same scene with the ram, except the ram is higher up in the tree. And this is actual liturgical text from the Machzor. The big word is melech. Melech. Ozer Gvura. Is that what it said? The God of great strength. A king of great strength. Now, this is from the year 1320. Artist is unknown. And what do you see here?
Well, it's certainly more detailed.
The angel has a body.
Yeah.
It looks like the ram's already dead.
Hmm.
The angel is not handling the knife.
Right. He's just talking to Abraham, which is, as the text says explicitly.
It looks like the angel has the ram and is saying to Abraham, "Here, take this instead."
Yeah. And what do you see in the faces of Isaac and Abraham?
Not very Jewish.
I was going to say they both look very calm and about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just an everyday event.
I think they're both looking at the angel. The one who's interesting looking is the donkey.
Yeah.
That's a punna.
That is. Is that a smiling donkey? And what does a donkey have to smile about?
He's not being sacrificed.
And what are the faces on the servants?
They look suspicious.
They're concerned.
Yeah, worried.
Yeah. Certainly not comfortable with what's going on. Now, one of the interpretations of this particular picture and the dominant picture in the middle is that was identified or thought of as the axis mundi. Axis mundi is the center of the world, but where the connection between heaven and earth is made. Because this is certainly heaven and earth are coming together with the angel, but it's also almost like a cosmic event. I don't think they would think of it in those terms, but that's what Axis Mundi implies. And the Christians would know about that, probably not the Jews. Now we're going to jump ahead a little bit, same century, in the 14th century. And this is an illustration of what was known then, and which was the Shotgun Bible. Now, you know that Shotgun is a traditional publisher of sacred works, and they've been around for centuries. And so this is the cover of the Bible, and it depicts scenes from the book of Genesis. The Adam and Eve in the upper right hand. And you can see the ark, you can see other things. And then, of course, you get to the binding of Isaac, which is hard to see in details here. But it looks, as much as we can see, it looks similar to other things we've seen in terms of the angel reaching out to the sword or the knife. And we can't really see, in this picture, you can't really see Isaac well. We're going to jump from this to some sculpture. So this is a sculpture that is part of the decoration outside the cathedral at Chartres. So what do you see here?
Well, Abraham is looking away and up, obviously, towards an unseen angel.
Mhm.
Also looks like Abraham and Isaac are standing on the ram.
Yeah.
Like a totem pole. You got the ram, you've got Isaac, you've got Abraham.
Mhm.
Hard,
And it looked,
hard to see Isaac's head.
well, but it looks like he's also looking up at the angel.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And what's Abraham doing with his left hand?
He's holding Isaac under the chin.
Yeah. Is that to hold him down or is that to caress him? But this is a very serene depiction. Take a look at Isaac's legs.
They look bound.
Mhm.
Are they supposed to be indicative of Christ's legs on the cross?
Well, that seems to be how it's been interpreted. And again, Akedah as prefiguring the death and resurrection of Jesus. But yes, that's how that is how that's been interpreted, as looking like the feet of Jesus on the cross. Now we're going to see another sculpture, also there, that is a very, very different point of view. This is by Donatello, the one on the left. Kind of different, huh?
Very.
Here, let's look at that more closely. It seems much more of a violent scene.
Absolutely.
He's grabbed Isaac by the hair. Isaac is stripped naked.
Mm-hmm.
And the body twists in both cases are indicative of that tension.
Mm-hmm. The twisting in different directions, it looks like.
Right.
Abraham's looking up, Isaac's looking down. It seems like Isaac, but what do you see in Isaac's face?
Almost resignation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Isaac knows why he's there and understands his fate. One of the commentaries said that if you look at Abraham's hand on the knife, it looks to be like a little loosened. I'm not sure if that, I wouldn't necessarily see that, but in preparation of not doing the sacrifice.
It
There's
looks
a certain
enlarged.
I'm sorry?
enlarged.
It looks enlarged. Larger than it's proportionate. It's not proportionate.
Uh-huh.
There's almost a similarity between the position of his right hand and the statue of David by Michelangelo,
Ah. Mm-hmm.
which was enlarged because of perspective.
Yeah.
Also, Abraham's beard looks wild. He looks like a kook.
Well, at least that's how Donatello imagined this, ancient biblical figure. And it looks like, to me, Abraham has almost like a blank stare.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Conflicted, confused. Okay, well, got a lot more slides to go through, so I'm going to rush ahead a little bit. Here's a scene that many of you have seen already.
Mm-hmm.
This is the baptistry in
Mm-hmm.
Florence. Mhm. And there you have Ghiberti's doors, which were not the original. Those are facsimiles. The originals are in a safer place. And you get a little closer. And here's a picture I took of the sacrifice of Isaac, but that's not the only story here. On the left, I think, again, you see Abraham feeding the three angels with Sarah looking on. Bottom right, you've got the two servants that are just oblivious to what's going on. And in upper right, you've got the Akedah scene. Angel with wings. It's hard to get the perspective, and of course, it's high up, so it had to be from an angle. But what do you make of Isaac's stance? His body picture.
He looks like he's resisting.
Mm-hmm.
He's pulling away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Not so willing.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he's on his knees and
Yeah. Yeah.
bowed over and ready to take it.
Mm-hmm. Well, or he knows he's going to get it. Here's another sculpture. This is actually a wall. And again, this is from the early or the mid 1600s. Alexandro Algardi.
Look at that. Oh, wait, that draper.
Mm-hmm.
And what's noticeable here?
Isaac looks like a young adult rather than a small child.
Mm-hmm. And what's his posture?
Submissive.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking down and Abraham's looking up.
At the angel.
And what do you see on the left in the bottom?
That's where the ram is. And a fire.
Yeah. Look closely at the ram. Do you see horns?
No.
So what else might it be?
Are you?
Sacrificial lamb.
A
It's what
lamb.
the Christians use as a sacrifice when they depict Jesus.
He is the lamb. Jesus is the lamb. That's right. And so there's between the submission, the submissiveness of Isaac and the appearance of the lamb that will be sacrificed. This is definitely communicating this scene as a precursor for the life and death and resurrection of Jesus. We're going to skip a second to a different world. So
Persian.
the Quran lists a number of prophets that came before Jesus. But it doesn't say much about them. So there are subsequent works known as Tales of the Prophets that expanded on those kind of in a midrashic way. And this is an illustration of one of those on the Tales of the Prophets. So it is Persian. It has an X there. I don't think that was part of the original picture, to designate different spheres. So the one starting at the bottom and going up to the right, that separates heaven and earth. And the one coming from top left down to the bottom is drawing a line between, direct line between the angel and Abraham. You don't see an altar there, because it's possible that that's not, it doesn't come directly from the Torah text. And as a matter of fact, who is that who's being sacrificed? In the Islamic tradition, it's Ishmael. Also a pretty picture. Okay, now we're going to find ourselves back in the Renaissance. This is a photo by an artist named Caravaggio. This is a picture I took. It's in Uffizi. Here's a better picture. And what do you see there?
Interesting how the ram's head is directly above Isaac's.
I was going to say Isaac looks like he's in pain or in fear. And he also here looks like he's, in his 20s maybe.
Okay. So here's a close-up of Abraham. Very expressive, but what is he expressing?
Conflict in his mind. Concentration,
yeah,
and anguish.
Anguish. It's the same thing.
Anguish. Confusion. You told me to do one thing, and now you're telling me to do something else.
Yeah, confusion.
Your bumps on this one?
I don't know.
Wonder if that was
Intensity.
And here's a close-up of Isaac.
Well, the knife is very, very vividly portrayed. You
Certainly
see
is.
the edge, and and the terror.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very, very different.
And you notice that Abraham has to hold Isaac down.
Yeah.
Interesting looking angel. Almost looks like a Cupid kind of thing. And I could be wrong, but I'm wondering if the angel is supposed to have kind of the same face as Isaac.
Yeah. The
Curly
same hair.
Curly hair, yeah.
Yeah, the curls.
Isaac has thicker eyebrows, but what would that mean? If the angel was actually Isaac, or Isaac's angel.
Caravaggio could only afford one model at a time.
That is a very practical answer and probably true.
Well,
It's
Caravaggio was a convicted killer. I mean, he actually murdered somebody. And his paintings have an immediacy and urgency about them. They're always very much focused on the foreground, and the violence in them is often a central feature. Even the skin tones between the angel and Isaac are similar, whereas the father Abraham's skin is tanned and worn and darker age.
And the use of light adds a lot of drama.
Yes.
So where's the light? What is it
On
highlight?
the angel's hand and shoulder.
Well, from the upper left. Right.
And
Mhm.
Isaac's
And-
shoulder.
Yeah.
Isaac's shoulder and to some extent face. And the top of Abraham's shiny bald head.
Yes.
It's a straight line from the angel's curls down his arm to Abraham's arm to the knife.
Yeah.
Continue, there's Isaac's shoulder to Isaac's mouth.
Yeah.
So it's a direct line
Yeah.
from upper left to lower right.
You are right.
So these. I'm going to skip this one for time. Now we're getting into the age of Rembrandt.
Dark and light again.
Yep, dark and light. You don't see Isaac's face here. It's hidden.
I was about to say that Abraham's totally covering Isaac's face so that he's not about to see what's going to happen. But because of the way the angel has grabbed Abraham's hand, the knife is dropping out of his hand.
Yep. Very good.
The angel is almost being violent.
You can imagine that. What would it take to knock the knife out of Abraham's hand?
Yeah.
And the other hand raised and, warning.
Yeah. Like, boy, what are you doing?
The angel has curly hair again.
All the action is between the face of the angel and the face of Abraham. Isaac's face is obscured. I mean, it's the action is between the two of them.
Is there a ram in the picture? I can't see.
No,
No.
I don't see.
I do not see that. No.
Linda, we call that pre-ram.
So, that's it. So that's Abraham's face. Now, historically, a few years after this painting was done, next 5 years or so, his wife Saskia gave birth to 4 children, all of whom died at birth. The fifth child lived, but she died. And so there's a different feeling in the next picture that we're going to see, also a sketch from Rembrandt. What moment is this, you think?
What did you say, please?
What moment is this, and what do you see between the two of them?
This is before. This is before there's no angel yet. He's telling him what's going to happen.
Well, it's the scene,
or maybe
where Isaac asks, here's the fire, here's the wood, where's the sacrifice?
Right.
And Abraham is pointing upward as if to say, God will provide. The background is very interesting, very telling. Because Isaac, there's this blurriness in back of him, not so with Abraham.
Yeah.
Does it mean he's getting it? Here's a close-up of him. What do you see in that face?
Nothing good.
Fear,
Yeah.
confusion.
Questioning.
Yeah, I
He's
think he's
looks
trying
like
to-
he's questioning what's going on here.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say the same thing, Elise. Like there's this questioning and this trying to comprehend what is my dad gonna do to me?
Yep. Those, lines around him, swirling around him, so to speak, probably represents what he's thinking.
Yeah, and indecision.
Yeah.
Where Abraham has clarity of vision.
Yeah. As we saw. Okay, we're going to move on. I have a lot more slides and not so much time, but here is Rembrandt's final sketch. This is from 1655. And what's happening here? That's a little different than what we've seen.
The angel has his hands over Isaac's head.
And what's the angel doing?
He's preventing Abraham from.
He's holding both Isaac and Abraham.
Mhm.
Right. I think he's embracing Abraham.
Yep.
Looks that
And
way.
it looks like Abraham
do-
has Isaac's eyes covered, and the angel is grabbing Abraham's arm, but he's embracing Abraham.
Mhm.
And stopping him with the other hand that's holding the knife.
Yeah, he's not. It doesn't look like he's actually reaching for the knife.
No, he's just controlling Abraham's movement.
Right. And my initial impression, which may not be right, is that the angel is trying to wrest Isaac from Abraham's grip, getting him out of there.
He's actually pulling him away, it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. And so you can see that scene where the hands go.
What is that in the lap of Abraham?
If you notice, the knife is in his left hand. And
Yeah.
in those days, people did not use their left hands. They got broken. So he had switched that. He wouldn't be able to use it. I think that's interesting.
Oh, very
That the
interesting.
knife is in his left hand.
Almost looks like he has 6 fingers on his left hand.
Oh yes, doesn't he? My goodness.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that too, but I think that's the hilt of the sword.
Yes, it is the hilt. It just
Yeah.
from the the
First
initial
glance.
impression.
And the thing on his lap is, I think, the sheath for the knife.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, scabbard.
Yeah.
And what do you see in Abraham's face?
Confusion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Angst.
Yeah. I haven't seen anything in all the things I looked at where Abraham is relieved,
No.
because it's maybe that comes afterwards, but at this moment, almost like he's wrestling with the angel.
Yes.
I've always interpreted that Abraham is trying to obey this God that he's always been told throughout his life, or he's always said to God, I'm here, I'm obeying you, I'm your servant, I'm going to spread your word. And for him all of a sudden to be faced with this angel saying, no, God was just testing you, comes as sort of a shock to him as to what do you mean I'm not supposed to go through with this?
And didn't you know already?
Yeah.
And in the Midrash, by the way, God did know what that Abraham was a righteous person, but it was that Satan, Hasatan, God's devil's advocate, that said, well, it's because he has everything. I mean, since he had the party for Isaac's
An
bris,
angel. That's
you know,
Abraham.
since he had the party for Isaac's bris, what else has he done for you?
That's Isaac.
And God says, well, even if I would ask him to give up his son, he would do it. And he says, okay, prove it. So Midrash takes the onus off of God.
18 people.
Say
That's
like,
that's good. Yeah.
all right, I'm going to
Yeah.
go through a few things here. This is an illustration from a book from 1685. Some more stuff. Now, what do you see here?
Is that the handle of a Torah?
No.
Is
You're
that
gonna see-
Isaac up on Abraham's shoulder?
No,
Mhm.
Isaac's
No,
below.
it's
he's
the
below
angel
on
on the shoulder and Isaac on the
Oh,
bottom.
there's
Right.
Isaac. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. And what is this a handle for? A circumcision knife.
Oh my God. For what? Circumcision knife.
Circumcision
Oh,
that the Moyle would use, because in certain streams there was a connection between the sacrifice or the almost sacrifice of Isaac and the circumcision. To prove that point, here is the cover of a book that outlines the laws relating to Brit Milah.
You
can see in the center, you got Moses on the left, Aaron on the right, and then you see in the the top, you see Abraham and the angels, but then you see the Akedah as well.
Oh, there. That's the slaying of
The Akedah, I'm going to move ahead. The Akedah is featured in some Haggadahs, believe it or not. This is from the Sarajevo Haggadah from the 14th century.
Nice
I
voice.
actually have a facsimile of that. And so here is on the way. Isaac's carrying the wood.
Oh yeah.
And here's
The
the
ram.
scene. Here's the ram, the hand of the angel.
Hand from angel. Yeah.
And both
Very
of
good.
them seem to be looking at the angel. So here's another Haggadah, and maybe you've seen a page of this before. And what do you see here?
The bottom shows the binding of Isaac and the angel stopping it, but everyone has a bird face.
Yeah.
And the
That's
ram
why
is
this is
there.
called this. That's why they call this the bird head Haggadah or the bird Haggadah.
Really?
And what's the rationale behind that?
You
It goes
can't
back.
depict a human figure.
That's right. You can't depict a human figure. And humans with bird heads, well, that's not anything in the heavens above, the earth, or the sea below.
It's a fantasy.
Yeah. And again, you see the hats, as Rabbi Satz pointed out.
I can't read it.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Here's
Nancy,
another.
you have to mute yourself.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is a text from Germany. It represents actually the response, or artistic response to the Jewish experience of the Crusades. That's a pretty big knife there, isn't it?
Is Isaac on the rack?
Isaac's, well, he's down there. Yep. He's on some sort of table. It's not an altar, it's a table.
An angel with wings is trying to stop him by grabbing the knife.
Yeah. So you may be aware of this, but there were some communities, both in the First and the Second Crusade, where rather than have their children taken away from them and converted to Christianity, the fathers would sacrifice the children, would kill the children.
Yeah. And they had poems that they wrote saying that we were greater than Abraham because we sacrificed our children.
Yeah. Abraham didn't do it, we did. Yep. Here's just a close-up of that. So this is also from a Haggadah from Venice, 1609. What do you see?
Isaac's a little older there
Yeah, he's kneeling down, hands together.
on the wood.
Yeah, and you see the costumes, of course, of their times.
It's interesting to see the village behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some very elaborate smoke.
A lot of smoke there from the fire. People are, artists or scholars are not of one mind in terms of who those people are on the left. They might be Jews celebrating Pesach, because this is from Haggadah, or maybe Isaac with his studious son Jacob, and then the other son Esau, who's going out hunting. But again, the message or the connection is the Akedah is a representation or expresses God's steadfastness, the protection that God offered. And one of the other Haggadahs that we saw, the text actually was, and we cried out to God, and God answered us with the picture of the Akedah there. Okay. This is a Torah curtain, which is kind of audacious because you see, that's not the angel, that's God, angry God. So we're going to open this. This is, now we're into the 20th century, the creation by Moshe Shah Mizrahi, around 1920. And it depicts, well, at the top it says Akedat Yitzchak. And so at the top says that here is Abraham trying to convince Sarah that it's okay to take Isaac because he's going to go study in a yeshiva. That's the midrash. Down below, underneath that, you have the scene, labeled with the text. Colorful wings this angel has.
Wow.
And it's all very, very linear and very two-dimensional. Beneath that, here's the journey. And what kind of garb are they wearing?
They've got the hookah.
Yeah, it looks Turkish.
I was going to say it looks
Turkish,
a little
you're
bit.
right.
Got the fez there.
Yeah.
The Ottoman Empire.
Yeah. And Abraham is somewhat older than Isaac, but doesn't seem like that much. He's the same size as Isaac's the same size as his father. But they're trapsing along. And then here is kind of a happy ending. This is where Isaac is meets Rebecca, and so the story continues Still in the 20th century. This particular person, Abel Penn or Pepperman, his name, who taught at Bezalel, he depicted in a number of his works the pogroms of Russia in a series called The Trail of Tears. And so what do we see here? I think
It
the
almost
message is this
looks
face.
like, yeah, terror and sadness.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Okay,
like
so
his final kiss goodbye.
we're going to run over time a little bit, but 1931, Chagall,
Huh.
Abraham Isaac, on the way to the sacrifice, Mount Moriah. 1956, here is another depiction. And his most famous depiction of the Akedah, here's a sketch of it. And he incorporates aspects of Jewish history, especially the suffering post-Holocaust. This is from the 1960s. You've got a picture of Sarah on the left, the angel coming down, and upper right. What do you see?
Christ carrying the cross.
Nope.
Jesus?
Jesus carrying the cross. A
Yeah.
Jew carrying
Yeah.
the cross. He uses the symbol of Jesus and the cross as the symbol, the suffering of the Jewish people. You got people running around, they're scared, things happening. You've got a mother grasping her children. And now we're going to color this in. I wanted to show you first some of the details. And that's how it comes out. One of the things that's very striking is, of course, the color and the choices of color for each of the various parts of the picture. Angel is in blue, and see that there's another angel at the top left.
Mhm.
Because Abraham, the text says, and God called out Abraham, or angel called out Abraham, Abraham. Maybe that was two angels there. Abraham is in red. Face looks, puzzled, confused. Isaac is almost serene. And in the upper right corner, you've got the brownish kind of color that is troubled times. Going forward, this is an Israeli artist by the name of Ardon. This is a depiction of Sarah over the dead Isaac. So you feel the anguish. And what's in the lower left-hand corner?
That a ladder?
So it looks like a ladder. In Jacob's dream, of course, there was a ladder connecting heaven and earth. This one does not. It's just a ladder. And some say that maybe it's an allusion to the train tracks that led to Auschwitz. Here's another Israeli depiction. I just thought it was interesting. Aryeh Navon. The next one is kind of abstract. by Mehuten Hava. Seems like a pile of logs. But there's a head of a figure kind of on the side. It looks like you've got the altar on the bottom and then the people on top, and it looks like they're all the same material. Blurring, articles say, blurring the distinction between the altar, the one who's sacrificing, and the victim of the sacrifice. They're all of one. Here's another sculpture. An American leading American pop culture artist from the 1960s, a plaster. Who's known for his life-size sculptures. And we're going to see another one of his sculptures in a second. But this depicts, I think, the moment of truth. There's no angel. Does he? Does he not? His next sculpture from the 1970s is very different. What do you see?
Isaac's pleading for his life.
Again, no angel.
No angel. This was commissioned during the Vietnam War and following the killings at Kent State. Kent State actually commissioned Siegel to do something to commemorate that. They were thinking about the sculpture of, that scene where the young woman puts the flower in the gun of the soldier. But that's not what they got. I think they got somebody else to do that sculpture they wanted, and they didn't accept this. And it's on the campus of Princeton. So Abraham and Isaac, or is it the older generation sacrificing the younger generation whose hands are tied? It looks like the one kneeling, if he stood up, would be bigger than the one holding the knife, but that doesn't matter because the knife is the power. And the, quote, son is powerless to do anything. Just the last few. This is by an artist by the name of Kadishman. You have, well, what do you see?
Ram is supplanting Isaac.
Isaac is a goner. Isaac is dead. The ram, symbol of power, overcomes the youth. And same artists, similar but different. This is outside the Tel Aviv Museum. Here you have the big dominant ram. Isaac lies dead on the ground. And as it's understood, these are two women bemoaning the loss of their sons in battle. And this was commissioned actually after the part of the 1982 war in Lebanon, which many young Israelis gave their lives for. And the lamb is not going to save them.
This is in Tel Aviv. Is this Tel Aviv or Jerusalem or? Yeah.
Tel Aviv Museum of Art. And here's the last one I just came across, and with which we will end. Is an Israeli painter, Ronnie Pinto, from 2008.
See the tears.
Yeah, face, the tears. There is no angel. The ram standing by. And he is the victim. So when it comes to artistic depictions of the binding of Isaac, there are hundreds and hundreds of them, mostly within the Christian community. Also linking that with the life and the death and resurrection of Jesus. As we get more into the modern age, more and more Jews are actually picking up the pen, the brush, and the chisel, and because the impact of the second commandment really has faded away, or at least for these artists. And I imagine as time goes on, there will unfortunately be other depictions of this sacrificial scene in response to other things that happen in our community and in the world. So, but any final thoughts?
This was very interesting. Thank you.
Oh, glad you enjoyed.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It was so informative, and you have an encyclopedic knowledge of art through history.
All right, Dee, way to go.
Right.
Well, and coming from an artist, that means a lot.
Yes,
That's a big deal.
it-
That's right.
Yeah, but it's I wouldn't call it encyclopedic. It's beginning.
No,
It's-
you really,
Yeah.
it was not only enlightening, but it was so enjoyable. Thank you. Thank you
Oh.
so much. I applaud you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful survey.
Thank
Really.
you.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Thank you very much. And it was
Thank-
good to see you again.
Good to
Very
see
good.
all of
Thank you,
you.
rabbis.
And
Good.
Shana Tova to you and yours. Happy,
Shana
healthy.
Tova.
And to
Our
you
very best
too.
to all the Rossoffs and to everyone. Sweet New Year.
Thank you very much, friends. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
And
Thank
we will
you.
see you all soon.
And thank you,
Thank
Rabbi
you.
Sass, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Shana Tova.
Shana
Thank
Tova.
you. Thank you.